This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV. We're on day 3 of Cloud Expo East in New York in the year 2015. Believe it or not, yeah. And I'm sitting with Venkat Eswara with Vitria from Sunnyvale, California. Thank you for joining us. Let's talk about analytics.
Good morning, Roger. Thank you. Thanks again. Thanks for having me here. At Vitria, we are leaders in streaming analytics and operational intelligence. So we are continuing our innovation in the IoT space. So what we are doing in IoT is really helping our customers, mostly in enterprises and industry verticals, where time to value is critical. And we help them with the ability to do faster insights and actions using our platform so that they can transform their business operations.
So you said continuing your abilities into the IoT. So let's take it back a couple of years before the IoT. What was the basic? You were involved with cloud computing, or?
Yeah, we were mostly into the intelligent business process management. We were into the streaming analytics and operational intelligence. And what we see in IoT, because of the nature of the digitization of your assets, of the physical assets, such as your sensors, your devices, your networks, to the cloud and to the end user. Now, time to action or time to value is so critical for our customers. So we see that not only there's a significant opportunity for the streaming analytics in particular, but also the ability to really make it more easier for them to drive value out of the network, right? And the underlying technology such as streaming analytics and intelligent actions could really become the building blocks for them to drive value.
So we sort of had, in my mind, 3 things going here. One is all these multiple data streams, all this collection of data that didn't exist before. The magnitude, the amount of data is probably dramatically higher. And then the real-time aspect of it, which maybe didn't exist as much before. And then the I guess there's 4 things. Then the archival aspect. Which of those 4 are they all 4 about equal in challenge and opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question, right? So what we look at is you have to have the ability to do a faster analytics. That means you should have a faster data ingestion from different sources, both from your network and from the external data. And you should have the ability to do a faster analytics across the value chain of the analytics. It's not about just looking at the historical or streaming or predictive in isolation. What we are looking at is what if the operations can look at the continuum of the analytics or the unified way of the analytics value chain, and if I can execute the analytics across the streaming, historical and predictive and prescriptive in less time. To me, that is the critical last mile to get to the smarter actions.
Do you, to what degree do you help your customers sort of plan out what they're doing? It seems like an IoT solution, no matter how well a customer thinks it through, is still going to have unsolved problems. I mean, they seem very hard to engineer to me without help from a company such as yours.
That's true, right? I mean, if you look at what happened to the internet over the last 15, 20 years, right? IoT, in our view, is the next step towards that. Now you are really looking at the digitization of the entire physical assets. That means you should have the ability to bring these technologies in a meaningful fashion so that the customers can have like self-service, model-driven kind of capabilities. So you can really make the technology more meaningful and driving time to value, right? So that's really about how do you address the business model and time to value, and looking at the technologies that can enable that. That can really transform the IoT.
What sorts of companies are you working with, and what sorts of companies should be contacting you?
Well, we are primarily focusing across enterprises, industry verticals, and even retail and financial, where every millisecond is critical for them to drive value. So, for example, if you look at smart grid, right? Our customers are looking at how do I prevent power outage, because by the time I go and analyze my data and predict there could be a potential impact, I'm already 2 hours into that. And how do I really minimize that in the mission critical environment within 10 minutes or 5 minutes? Same thing could be applied to high-tech manufacturing, like minimizing the downtime of your high-tech manufacturing plant, minimizing the defects of your products, and also maximizing your uptime. The other area is looking into the security and fraud. For example, if you look at how do I look at the fraud detection before there's a threat to my environment. So our customers are primarily looking at three key areas. One is the revenue growth. Revenue growth includes areas like supply-demand optimization. It could include customer experience, predictive marketing. The second area is how do I efficiently optimize my operations. That means asset optimization, predictive maintenance. And the third area is around security and safety of the environment. And all these are critical in nature. Time to action, time to value is probably the number one criteria for our customers.
How do you deal with latency? How do you deal with latency problems? Are there cases where latency of the internet is going to be a big problem?
Well, that is something that we are leveraging some of the technologies that we have seen in the telcos and in the cloud environment and data centers, and we're looking into a flexible architecture where you have to compute analytics at the edge or at the node, and in some situations in the cloud. It really depends upon what type of use cases you're deploying, and whether it is the depth or the breadth of the complexity, and that's how we address the latency, both at the edge and some in the cloud.
How do people find you? What's your URL?
I'm sorry?
The URL?
Yeah, so we are www.vitria.com/IoT, which is part of the IoT initiative within vitria.com.
There you go, www.vitria.com/IoT, in case you happen to be interested in the Internet of Things, which you probably are, or you wouldn't be watching this. So, Venkat, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for watching for Syscon TV. This is Roger Struckoff.